Welcome to the Glitter Boom Girls podcast. I'm Robbie-Ann McPherson over on the East Coast.
I'm Amy Asbury on the West Coast.
We are bringing you today a very detailed discussion on the Love Boat. That is our topic for today, and I'm excited. How about you, Aim?
I'm really excited. I love this show. Who doesn't?
Right? I know. It's like there's so much... so many episodes, so many guest stars, and there's just a ton of stuff to discuss. So let's get into, first of all, our individual relationship with this show, right? Because when I think of Love Boat, I think of Saturday nights, 9 o'clock. I am in my nightgown. I just took a shower and stuff, and I'm all ready for bed. And so I sit on my mom's bed and watch on her little TV because she and my dad are watching something else, like the Carol Burnett show or I don't know, something else. So so to me, it's a total warm fuzzy. Like even when I watch it today, I love, and the episodes, they tried to have a little bit of humor and stuff and a little bit of drama, How about you?
First of all, before I tell you mine, you got to tell me what snacks you ate while you watched Love Boat.
Oh, cereal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but you know what? Wait a minute. Occasionally, I would have Munchos.
Wait, Munchos?
Yeah.
What are those?
They still make Munchos, unfortunately for me. Yeah, they are the greasiest, saltiest potato snack you've ever eaten in your life, and they're so good. The packaging hasn't changed in 40 years, and Munchos and an old school Coke or Pepsi with sugar, not corn syrup.
Of course.
That is the ticket right there. So yeah, it would either be a salty snack with a Pepsi or 12 bowls of cereal.
Of course. Now, when you're talking about how it had kind of different storylines, and we will get to my warm fuzzy, but they actually, that was how they wrote it. There was typically 3 storylines, and one would focus on a member of the crew. Then there'd be a second storyline that would focus on a crew member interacting with one of the passengers. Oh. And then the third one was focused on like a single passenger or like a group of them. And the pattern was that the crew one was like a straight ahead comedy. And then the second one was more romantic, a little bit more dramatic. And then the third one would be the most dramatic. Yeah. And, wouldn't be fun. It would be more serious. Like, and that is a very special storyline. Yeah.
Of course. That makes total sense, because if I look back, you'd watch it, and as the passengers are boarding, and it's so interesting that Judy McCoy, in spite of the fact that there were thousands of passengers on the boat, she knew them all by name, which is an amazing feat. But they would come on, and they knew all the storylines already, and or they would have them talking to each other to kind of give you a clue as to.
And it was always like somebody from high school, like they saw somebody, there was always.
Yeah, like a high school reunion.
They somehow knew somebody on the Pacific. Yeah.
Yeah, or the couples.
The name of the ship? What was the ship?
The Pacific Princess.
Okay, yeah, and so it was a real cruise ship. Is that correct?
Yeah, they had sound stages, right? And
yeah, I heard it was mostly on sound stages.
Yeah,
like
but
the cabin, they did
shoot on real cruises. Yeah, and like the passengers were actually extras, which is crazy.
That is so funny, and I heard that people would pay thousands of dollars to get to be an extra, like tourist. At some point, people were like, "Wait a second, I want to be an extra."
Oh, I would, wouldn't you?
Wouldn't that be the coolest thing? So yes, I did love that. But yeah, so I had a different experience with it. It was always on in the background of my life in syndication. And mind you, I was a little kid in the 70s up until I was 6. And then in the 80s, it was on in syndication literally every single summer, all day long, a marathon. So every summer, I'd roll out of bed in my like Maui and Sons t-shirt, like turned inside out. And, it would just be on. It would be on whatever station. I mean, we had cable at certain points, but it was probably on one of the main three networks, and it just was on all day.
And how many days did you spend just marathoning Love Boat?
Every single 90 days in the summer. Like every single day was on. I'm not kidding. My sister and our friend Erin, we would just be kind of rolling out of bed. She'd spend the whole summer with us very often, and we would eat some kind of breakfast food, Danish or something. And just, there's Captain Stubing in the background. Like, it just felt like part of my family. So, and the air conditioner, we were in the hot summer in California. So, in my experience, you'd hear the air conditioner or the swamp cooler in the background with this false, artificially cold air. And you'd be in some kind of surf shirt that you woke up in, and there's a Love Boat. So that's my experience.
I love that our experiences are polar opposite. Like mine, because I remember watching it during its actual seasons, which of course were fall and winter. And I grew up in Buffalo in freezing cold. So to me, I would be bundled up in my nightgown and blankets and stuff on my mom's bed. And outside it's like snowing. And then here they are showing all these people in the bathing suits and the warm weather and stuff.
They loved it, yeah.
Yeah, totally.
And it's funny because it ended in 1986. So that was the time where I was in my surf shirts. So I could have been catching also the original airing.
Yeah.
At some point.
Yeah, well, like 5 years of a show is usually the syndication point, and that show ran for 9 years, right?
Yeah, 77 to 86, and then other little reunions and whatnot, of course.
Yeah. Okay. So let's get into the cast.
Yes.
Right, because the cast is really interesting. So there's Isaac, who is the bartender.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Your ship's bartender, right?
Your ship's bartender, yes.
Which, if you've ever been on a cruise ship, there's like 4,000 different bars. So, I don't know what kind of responsibilities Isaac had. But
well, he was part psychiatrist. I mean, that's Isaac Washington.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much more to the bartender, as you know, especially on television and movies.
Yeah, and the guy that played Isaac, what was his name? Ted
Lange.
Ted Lange. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I almost forgot his name.
Ted Lange made his Broadway debut in Hair, by the way.
What?
In the first national touring of that show. He had lots of theater work. He's written 17 plays.
Wow. See,
anyway, yes.
But that's always something we love to point out about a lot of these 70s sitcom actors and actresses. Just because they were on a show that was kind of silly, or a show that was mainstream, let's call it. A lot of these people had extraordinary histories in theater and even post-career, like post-hit careers in theater. And I had the pleasure of meeting Ted Lange once at the world's largest disco.
Of course.
Right. And it was Ted Lange and Parker Stevenson.
Oh, my.
Who, by the way, ladies, he is a fox.
Of course.
I'm not just talking back in the day. Like now, he's kind of dreamy.
He had the aura.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't know. He was just. I can tell why he was a teen idol. He's got some kind of foxy aura. Yeah. And then Punch from Chips.
Eric Estrada.
No. Or John. Wait. No.
Oh, John.
John. Yeah, it was John from Chips. Oh my God. I needed more tea today because I completely forgot his name, and I'm so sorry. Wait, look it up really quick. What was his name? because he was the doll too. So anyway, you take the pictures with these celebrities for charity, and it's
Okay.
like $20, and then you get a picture with them. And these guys, they were so nice. And Ted Lange and John from Chips. Oh my God, I cannot believe. Okay, I'm stopping right now to look this up.
All right. You know what? Why
Larry
you look up?
Wilcox. How did I
Oh yeah,
forget
yeah.
Larry Wilcox?
Of
Like,
course,
I
Larry
know Larry
Wilcox.
Wilcox. Oh my
That's
God.
all right. That's all right.
So yeah, I'm sorry, Larry. Like Larry's listening and going, "Hey," but yeah. So they were so nice, and they were all like still, handsome and friendly. And I went up similar to what I just did now. When I saw Ted Lange, I went, Isaac, and then I looked at him. I go, I know that's not your real name. I said, I'm sorry. You probably hate that, right? And he
That
goes,
is
no,
so.
no, it's fine. It's
Oh,
fine.
he embraced it.
Yeah. Oh, they were super nice. They were very, they got it. And I'm always eyeballing these celebs who sign up for the world's largest disco photo ops because it's a charity. And if they're jerks about it, I take note
You
because,
take note.
yeah, because come on, man. All you have to do is stand there, literally stand there. And they're probably getting a fee. And, it's for a really good cause. It's for Camp Good Days and Special Times, which helps kids with cancer and chronic illness. I mean, is there a better charity ever, right? So anyway, I always kind of side eye the ones that are attitudey, but no, these three couldn't have been nicer. Um, and I do, maybe I'll post that picture somehow. But anyway, so back to the cast rundown. So here's Ted Lange, who's like a theater
Mm-hmm.
guy. So he's playing the bartender, and let's give him props because if you look at some of the storylines that he did
Oh,
have some
goodness
serious
sakes.
storylines. Like, remember Roxy Blue?
No, tell me
Diane
about it.
Carroll. She played this like
Love
Diana
her.
Ross type singer who came aboard the ship, and she had an affair with Ted Lange, with Isaac.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
but she was really full of herself, and she started kind of treating him like
Like a bartender?
yeah, yeah, exactly. She's like, Roxy's thirsty.
Oh,
And
hell no.
he wasn't going to be anybody's kept man or anything, so he ended up breaking up with her. Like, it was a whole thing. But in all the episodes where he had to show some dramatic chops, he totally did. And for other people to look at him and call him Isaac, like, that's how much he invested in the character. He
And
was
people
the
loved him.
character.
And you know who else people loved who had a very different life outside of the Love Boat was Gopher, Fred Grandy. And I did not know, you guys, I feel horrible, but did you know, Robbie, what a yeoman purser was? Because I did not.
No.
Okay, so he's your yeoman purser.
Yeah, I knew that from the credits, but I didn't know what
What
he
in the
did.
heck was a yeoman purser? So anyway, it's an officer on a ship who handles financial accounts and various documents relating to the ship and keeps money and valuables for the passengers.
Really?
And
I don't think I
apparently
ever saw
that
Gopher
name,
doing that.
neither did I. And that name has gone back to the Navy from like the 1400s. It's a very old name. And I was laughing when I looked it up. I'm like, oh my gosh, I had no idea Gopher like helped you hide your jewelry. I never saw that. But strangely, maybe not strangely, surprisingly, Fred Grandy, as cute and as funny as he was as Gopher, he went to Exeter with David Eisenhower, who's the grandson of Dwight Eisenhower, and was the best man at Eisenhower's wedding to Julie Nixon.
Wow.
And he graduated magna cum laude from Harvard in
Okay,
1970.
another example, right?
Hello,
I mean, you go to Exeter,
and then Harvard.
come on, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
mean, this
love
is
it.
this is a highly educated guy, and of course, he went on to become a congressman. Um,
That's right.
yeah, and the idea that just because he played Gopher on, which was
Well,
largely
the
a comical role,
was a corny name, but yeah, member of the House of Representatives from the state of Iowa.
yeah. Yeah, so here we have Ted Lange, who's written like literally 17 plays. We
Correct.
have
Fred Grandy.
Fred Grandy, who I almost said Gopher. We have Fred Grandy, who went to Exeter and Harvard. you know,
Isn't that
like
funny? I just
what?
loved it.
So wait, do I understand this correctly? Fred
Tell
Grandy
me.
graduated magna cum laude from Harvard? Or he graduated from
Yes.
Exeter? From Harvard.
Grandy. It's Grandy. Yep.
Yeah,
No,
folks.
Exeter was the like the high school.
Yeah, that's the
And then he went to Harvard.
Yeah.
He got a bachelor's degree, magna cum laude, from Harvard in 1970.
So literally Gopher is Ivy League.
Gopher is Ivy League.
Yeah.
And of course before he was big on the Love Boat, he was on the wonderful Love American Style, which had a very similar writing style, the different episodes and the different guest stars.
But it was kind of the same show, just on dry land.
It's the same show. He was on Welcome Back, Kotter, but yes, and it's going to be hard for any of these cast members to follow him because his is, both of them are quite impressive.
Right.
But your ship's doctor,
Bernie Kopell.
Bernie Kopell, of course, great character actor, was on Get Smart.
Yeah.
And a ton of other shows.
He's still acting, isn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
What do you think of Doc?
Well, how he played that Lothario, right? He played this
so cheesy.
Yeah,
lovably cheesy.
He played the guy that you would meet at a Marriott discotheque. Not a disco, but a discotheque, like in a Marriott or something.
Did he play a Lothario? Like, it's kind of coming back to me.
Women loved him? Was all about the ladies.
Oh, for goodness sake.
Yeah, Doc hit on everything that moved. And
did he?
He was just all about the ladies. Yeah, he was always like, that was his thing. So what is Bernie, but what else can you tell us about Bernie Kopell, the actor?
Well, the actor, I think his biggest role was as Siegfried in Get Smart from 66 to 69.
Mm-hmm.
And during the 60s and early 70s, he just was in a ton of different sitcoms. That Girl, Jack Benny, Green Acres, Flying Nun, McHale's Navy. It just honestly goes on and on, all the way to Bewitched, Kojak, like just a huge list.
Wow. So
he was, yes.
I remember him from That Girl. I do not remember him from Bewitched.
He just did a little part. I forget, he was one of the crazy warlocks or something.
Yeah, but you think I would remember.
We're gonna have to look it up.
Yeah, we'll have to when we do our Bewitched episode. We'll have to
he was on
dissect
Mary Tyler
that.
Moore.
Oh yeah, I remember him from Mary Tyler Moore. Yeah,
he's on every single one. So he was a great. So wait, so he was the Lothario, and then Gopher was like the funny guy, or what?
Yeah. So Gopher was.
They were just in the background of my life, so I don't remember exactly.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say bumbling, but
kind of. He was. I feel
wasn't.
Like he dropped luggage quite a bit. No,
I don't know. He was just he was just a comedian. Like, he was the funny guy. He was always cracking jokes and stuff. He was very endearing. And then, speaking of Mary Tyler Moore,
lovable. Yeah, Isaac was lovable,
and he was also kind of he had a good head on his shoulders. Like Isaac was maybe we could really get into this and Isaac was the conscience. Gopher was the the sense of humor. Doc was the libido. Yeah. Doc
was libido. The id, the ego, the super id.
Right.
Was Gavin MacLeod? Was Meryl Stubing?
Well, Meryl would be the brain.
Oh, the brain.
Right.
Okay.
Because he, speaking of Mary Tyler Moore, he was played by Gavin MacLeod, who played Murray Slaughter, right, on Mary Tyler Moore. And he had an interesting sort of he was a real sex symbol, back in the day, as Captain Stubing, all those
blue eyes and those great teeth.
Yeah, and just he's a captain in the uniform.
I think my grandmother totally was into him. She was always watching that show.
Yeah, it was like a grandmother type of thing. Yeah, and he is a handsome guy. But
my grandmother also loved Chuck Woolery, by the way, from Love Connection. But anyway, go on.
That's like a law. If you're a grandma, you suddenly love Chuck Woolery.
She loved Chuck.
Oh yeah. And so what do you got about Gavin MacLeod? Did he go to Yale or?
No, and I feel bad that we told about Fred before all these other people. Gavin was a very successful actor. He was in McHale's Navy, opposite Ernest Borgnine. So that was his main. He was Happy Haynes, so he was a television actor, which is lovely. So he did not do any crazy things beyond that I know of, but that's quite all right.
But he was a really successful actor. I mean, he's
very much.
On Mary Tyler Moore, he played a central character throughout the whole show, right? So, and Murray always had really good lines. And
Beloved, yes.
And then to round out our main crew was Lauren Tewes, who she was kind of an unknown when she got the part of Julie McCoy, the cruise director. And Aaron Spelling had seen her on some show. Like she had a guest spot on something.
She was in a Lipton iced tea commercial. And that got her a Screen Actors Guild card. Mm-hmm. And then she went on,
she
was
did
on
the
some
rounds.
Show and he saw
like detective shows and, all this stuff. And one of those was an Aaron Spelling show. And Aaron Spelling was like, oh, hey, she might be perfect. And there's a lot of stuff written about her that she had a lot of struggles on the show. Like she was very vocal at the time anyway about having a cocaine addiction and that kind of cost her the role. And they replaced her. That thing they did in the 70s where if a character left, they would just invent a brother or a cousin that was almost just like
her
them.
Sister. Yeah, Patricia Klaus as Judy McCoy.
Right, like seriously, her name can't be like Mary McCoy. It's got to be like Julie. Like people aren't going to notice,
Well, it was her sister. And you know what? So Lauren she had a little part on Charlie's Angels and then that show Family. Remember Family?
Oh, yeah. I remember Family.
And she was some kind of debutante on that show. But what it was, she was in a little role on Starsky and Hutch. And that's what brought her to the attention of Aaron Spelling.
Oh, okay.
Like, wait a second. But it's funny because after she got cleaned up, she ended up attending culinary school. And she became a cheese specialist.
Wow, so that's what she's doing today?
I don't know if she is today, but I believe she might be a sous chef today for a catering company.
Oh, that's cool.
Right?
Yeah, see, this is what I mean. Like,
it's still interesting.
After something like that where you're, on this hit show and maybe, you have to kind of reinvent your life and get through this cleaning up kind of thing from her addictions and all that. And then you have to reinvent yourself, right? And there's certainly, people might look at, oh, well, she's a sous chef now. She used to be a TV star. Well, I think a lot of TV stars would argue that, being a sous chef is way more fun. Like people just sort of think that being on TV is the ultimate, but
maybe not for your mental health.
Yeah, it's not. And she's probably a million times happier now. Maybe the money's not as great, and that might help for a lot of celebrities, but she's probably, I'm going to guess, she's probably a lot happier now being a sous chef than being on a
Do you
TV
remember
show.
Your Ship's photographer, who that was?
Was that Ted McGinley?
Yes.
Ted McGinley, yeah.
His name was Ace. Ace, the ship's photographer. Ted McGinley had to be on every one of these shows.
Yeah, he was like the Heather Locklear of, he's the male Heather Locklear. Like the show would be sinking in the ratings or getting stale, and it was like, get Ted McGinley on the phone, and then all of a sudden Ted McGinley would turn up as a ship's photographer or like on Happy Days. What was he on Happy Days? He showed up on Happy Days.
Oh, he was the best. I think it was Roger or something.
Was he a coach or something?
Remember.
I don't know. So,
so it's Ted McGinley. And you know what cracks me up is I think the very last season, I remember these like solid gold-esque ladies kind of like flipping their hair. Well, their hair was so hairsprayed.
Yeah.
What were they? The mermaids?
They were the Love Boat Mermaids. And
oh my gosh. And Terry Hatcher was one of them. That's all I remember.
Can't you see? In like
so
here's
wrong.
the mid 80s and a bunch of men sitting around with cigars going,
oh my gosh,
we gotta get some spice in the show. Yeah,
hey, Gordon,
I know.
Al.
We get a bunch of dancers, call them the mermaids. Great.
Call them the mermaids. And these ladies had the highest. Remember when everything was like French cut? It was like the highest leg cut to these leotards, and then they had this little Playboy bunny bow tie with like a little collar. You know, it was just so
Wow.
bad. And their hair was these giant hairsprayed helmets,
Well,
and they
yeah,
were in
that
high
was
heels.
86. Yeah, so what was that?
I
85?
mean, yeah, 86, 85, and they were just whipping around, and it was kind of in the background. They would show them, and then they would kind of pan away to some kind of action.
Yeah.
They were a troupe of dancers, yes.
Yeah, I mean, Aim, have you ever been on a cruise?
Oh my gosh, I have.
Yeah, me too. And I was on a cruise maybe around 2007, 8, right around there.
Mm.
And I went on a couple. And I just remember the whole time going, wow, this is like nothing like a
It
Love
was
Boat.
bad. Let's
Like,
be
it's
honest,
nothing like the
cruises
Love Boat.
are, my
Well,
cruise was the worst. I
I
was
will
like, you
say
gotta be kidding.
there I wouldn't say all cruises are bad. I would just say
No, 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 no.
cruises
But
are for a particular they are a particular type of vacation. And if you
yeah,
like that type of vacation, hey, it's
very
perfect,
nice of you.
right?
My
But
cruise was tacky and cheap and ridiculous.
there are those out
Not
there.
all cruises. There are beautiful cruises. The one I went on, I was like, you've got to be. Couldn't believe it. But anyway, carry on.
Well, what was wrong with your cruise?
Everything was wrong with my cruise. My cruise was the awful entertainment, like this cheesy entertainment. They kept trying to get everyone to buy drinks. It was all like it never even left the port. There was this big storm. I don't even want to tell you the story of my cruise. My cruise was so crazy. Everybody fell on the ground and was rolling. This is going to sound crazy, but this really happened. For hours, there was a giant tornado. It was like we were supposed to go to the Bahamas. We were rolling on the ground with glass, food, luggage. Everything was crashing onto the ground. And I just thought, I'm going to die. After 3 hours of rolling back and forth and vomiting and like all this food is everywhere, like I literally was like, okay, I'm going to die and I'm good with that. It was so traumatic. I'm not kidding you guys. I It's hard to tell you how it went from A to Z like that, but it did. And everybody was so traumatized afterward. And I think they were really worried about lawsuits. And I was 22 or something, so I don't even know how to go about it. But I was beat mentally after that. Beat.
Yeah, that sounds rough. I mean, that to have like a weather thing on what the cruise that I went on was actually called the Rock Boat,
Oh my.
and it sails every year, and it's just all these concerts.
That
Uh,
sounds fun. That I would do.
yeah, well, that's the only reason I went, because the idea of just a plain old cruise, it didn't really appeal to me because I think I would get really bored and stir crazy after a while. So I was thinking, okay, this would be a great way for me to check out a cruise experience and then also, see a lot of bands and stuff. And the first year was really fun. The first year I had such a blast, but it wasn't about the cruise. It was about like this could have just been at a big hotel.
Okay.
The cruise didn't really factor into it. Um, the second year, I did not enjoy myself at all, and
Okay. What was how come?
well, the way that they treated the guests changed, and I don't think it was necessarily the cruise ship, although I did have a lot of issues with how mean the staff were to the people.
Interesting.
Oh yeah, they were
Okay.
they were pretty rude,
They were
then
disgruntled in some way.
yeah, and you're expecting like I'm expecting Julie McCoy, I'm expecting
Oh,
Isaac to be
yes.
like, hey, what can I get you, and they were just miserable, and then the people that ran the rock boat that second time, they just made some changes to things, and they they were really not considerate of the passengers, in my opinion. So I stopped going on those cruises. But
You needed the Love Boat crew.
Well, yeah, I mean, had Gopher been there to take care of my valuables, had Captain Stubing been around to whip the crew into shape, had Julie McCoy been around to help me find fun stuff to do, and had Isaac been around to pour me some great pina coladas, I think I would have had a good time. But I just kind of didn't. And
Can
we had a weather thing that second cruise too, where we were supposed to go to, I think we were supposed to go to, I don't know, Nassau or someplace, and we couldn't get off the ship, and it was raining. It was like 50 degrees. It
and you know
wasn't
what? And I
fun.
think this is kind of part of it. It's not, I don't want to say all cruises are tacky. It's not that. It's the experience, and it could have been in a hotel. It's the same thing. It's the way it
Right.
is handled.
Yeah.
And some of them are probably handled very beautifully. I just did not experience that. But I've got a question for you. Can you guess which guest star? And by the way, there were 552 guest stars
What?
on the Love Boat. I pulled some of the best ones.
Holy
But
crap.
according to MeTV, can you guess who was the person who appeared the most as a guest star on the Love Boat?
Oh, gee whiz. You know what? Can you give me a hint? Because out of 552,
She's a mom. She plays a mom on many
Florence
shows.
Henderson.
Of course, 9 times.
Nine
Under her,
times.
Linda Evans appeared 7 times.
No kidding.
And
Linda
then Rue
Evans.
McClanahan, 6. Ted Knight, 6. And Ethel Merman, 6. Also, Aaron Moran, 6.
Wow.
And then under her, there was 3 people that appeared 5 times. Robert Reed, Vicki Lawrence, and Maureen McCormick. And then Tom Bosley appeared 4 times. Thank you, MeTV. And you know what's funny? They did have an episode where Florence Henderson and Robert Reed starred uh, both on the same episode, and they kind of looked at each other like, do I know you? And then, you as a viewer, like, oh my gosh, they're going to say, and they kind of just kept walking, like, no. So it was really, really
Oh,
cool.
that's cute. That's kind of meta. Like meta
Yeah,
on the
very
Love Boat.
meta. And do you remember they introduced one of the new Charlie's Angels characters on the Love Boat, Shelley Hack, as
No.
Tiffany Wells? Yes, so
I
that
did
was a
not
little
know that.
crossover.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
I never knew that. I was today years old when I learned that Shelley Hack's character was, oh my gosh. So
Well,
did
there was a two-hour season premiere of Charlie's Angels in 1979, which is of course another Aaron Spelling series. And the show, the title was Love Boat Angels. And the characters were trying to recover some kind of stolen artifacts while they were on the Pacific Princess. And they were going to a cruise on the Virgin Islands, okay? And then all of the Love Boat people were on the show and everything like that. And that's when they introduced Shelley Hack as the new angel, Tiffany Wells.
wait, so do I understand this correctly? The Charlie's Angels season premiere was actually a Love Boat episode?
It was a Charlie's Angels episode, but it was on the Love Boat, Love Boat
Oh,
Angels. And
wow.
then there was a 90-minute thing in 82 called The Love Boat Goes to Fantasy Island. So the show started on the Love Boat, and the guest stars finished on Fantasy Island.
Get out.
Is
Wow.
that insane? And then there was also a crossover episode where there was like a detour, and they delivered this very troubled woman who was played by one Lonnie Anderson
She was
to the
on it a
mysterious
lot.
island of Mr. Rourke instead of by the usual plane. The Love Boat took her over there, and then her storyline continued on that show. So I thought those were really interesting
That,
little
you know
things
what?
to do.
That is really interesting, which brings up another issue about Fantasy Island. That was a very formulaic show, just like Love Boat, because they started off
Correct.
with 3 storylines and then it went down to 2. But it was the same kind of thing. Like one was kind of a funny, it's kind of a storyline, and then the other was like some sort of serious, creepy,
Right?
scary one where somebody learns a lesson. There was a lot of eating crow on Fantasy Island. Somebody at the end
Right.
always ate crow and learned that the grass is not greener, and you should be happy with what you've got, or if you had done things differently in the past, it would have turned out worse. Like there was somebody who was always eating crow. But back to the Love Boat, um I watching it now, because another shout out to Pluto TV. We wish Pluto TV was our sponsor, but they're not. We just love Pluto TV. So the Pluto TV app has a channel that shows nothing but Love Boat. So
how funny.
Yeah, so the other day I was watching 15 minutes, 7 episodes in a row, and I'm like, wow, like this show was so loose. Like people were just doing it left and right, and and they didn't really show anything, and there was always some storyline where somebody wasn't, but I'm just like, wow, talk about the free loving 70s and all that. Like I was just kind of shocked and surprised at how this show portrayed, like, yeah, you like somebody, and then everybody said I love you after knowing them for like 2 hours. Literally, it's a 3-day cruise, and the second night, like, some guy would be like, I've never met anyone like you, I love you, will you marry me? And I'd be like,
and that kind of probably
just
ruined
met her.
Yeah, and then when women would watch that and go out into the dating world, the divorcees of the early 80s, they were like, this is not exactly happening like it did on Princess Cruises.
Well, that's a great point, because today a lot of women are educated in narcissists and things like that, and one of the trademarks of a narcissist is, they call it love bombing, where
Correct.
They meet you and 5 minutes later they're like, you're my soulmate and I want to marry you.
I had a dream about somebody that looked just like you.
Yeah.
You are her.
Oh, we're exactly the same, and I've been waiting
we're like twin flames.
All these things that I'm watching these people say on the Love Boat, and I was like, wow, these people are all like narcissistic love bombers, like unbelievable. And here, you're right, I was 10, 11, and I'm watching this like, oh, okay, that's what love is.
Isn't that
I guess
funny?
that's how you meet.
Right. You look at the shows and you think that's how it's supposed to be. And also my mother's magazines, I would think like, oh, okay, you've got to do this and you've got to do that. And it's just so wrong, all of it. And it's so true. Who's in these meetings coming up with, and God love the writers, I'm sure they were writing for the public wanted. However, it was so far-fetched, some of it. It just cracks me up. It's just silly.
Yeah, I saw on Pluto the other day, I saw the episode where Rhoda Morgenstern's mother, she wasn't her mother in the show in Love Boat, but the actress who plays her, Nancy, oh my God, Amy, I'm doing it again. Like, I am spacing on her name. Her first name's Nancy.
Well, there was 552 guest stars.
I know, but I should know her name. So she, in this particular episode, in the very beginning where they introduce all the storylines, she's moving her shit into her cabin. And Captain Stubing's like, well, she's going to join us and she's going to move on the Love Boat and live here for the next 5 years. And I was like,
so
what?
Funny.
Like, who would ever move onto a cruise line? Like, I couldn't. And then I'm thinking, were they trying to add her as another character? Because, she was a big star at the time, So, like, what? It just made no sense. And the storyline, of course, suddenly Abe Vigoda shows up as he's like a butler on the boat, even though we've never seen him before. And she falls in love with him, and she's rich, and she wants to marry him. And it was this crazy storyline. But
I need to know why Denny Terrio was on the Love Boat, and both Donnie and Marie.
Yeah, I remember.
Jenny Lee Harrison, Don Knotts, everybody from Three's Company, first of all. Everybody from Brady Bunch.
I don't remember the Denny Terrio.
You're going to have to look it up because he was in the list. Tony Tennille was in the list. Adrian Zemed. When I saw that, I said, of course. And Anson Williams, of course.
Adrian Zemed was on it more than once, wasn't he?
I don't know, but I just cracked up. Everybody from Dallas, Patrick Duffy, Charlene Tilton, everybody from Dynasty was on there. Lots of Little House on the Prairie people.
Oh, yeah.
Gilligan's Island people. And Jackie Earle Haley from Bad News Bears, I was like, yes. And then when I saw the Harlem Globetrotters, I said, yep, of course.
Yeah.
And many, Eric Estrada, all those people. It just cracked me up. Ann B. Davis. Literally, Ann B. Davis, Don Knotts. It's just everyone.
And once again, you picture the guys with the cigars, sitting around a boardroom table, going, you know what? These Harlem Globetrotters, they're hot. We got to get them on. We got to get them on the Love Boat.
So true.
We'll do it for
so
Sweeps
true.
Week.
Norman Fell and Audra Lindley were on there. Yeah, so I was cracking up.
Yeah, I
Dean
saw
Butler,
one of
Alfonso.
I saw one of the Audrey Lindley ones the other day. Yeah, on Pluto.
And then who were the sisters that were on Dallas?
The Lander sisters.
Yeah, the
Audrey
Landers,
and Judy.
they were always on there in bathing suits. And it just cracks me up. It just cracks me up. And then Adrienne Barbeau and Scott Baio, Conrad Bain. I was like, oh, yeah. Yeah. But you know what's funny? When people from Little House on the Prairie, like I said, El Monzo was on there and Melissa Sue Anderson, I really would stop eating my cereal or my uncooked Pop-Tart with my surf shirt and say, wait a second, I cannot see Mary Ingalls in regular clothes. It just bothered me. Everybody else was fine, but when Little House, when they came in there and they weren't in calico, or the church outfit, I was like, ooh, this is hard. This is hard for my brain.
Well, first of all, we have to back up a minute, and we have to determine A, why you were eating an uncooked Pop-Tart, and B, which Pop-Tart was it?
Well, they didn't have really the frosting ones back in the day.
What? Yes, they did.
I don't like the
that was a lie.
One.
Your nutty granola mother told you.
Well, then I didn't like them. I think she might have bought one, and I was like, never buy this again. I was eating a regular strawberry unfrosted Pop-Tart.
That's not a Pop-Tart.
Which she only started buying later in the years when she stopped caring about her health completely. Because at first it was all like buckwheats and like, bear. I don't want to say what, but anyway.
No, that sounds to me like a quote unquote toaster pastry, not a Pop-Tart.
Yeah, and then she was like, I don't care, eat whatever you guys want. And that was the point, most of the point where I was watching Love Boat. Anyway, Pop-Tart, surf shirt, air conditioner on. I see Melissa Sue Anderson wearing normal clothes and Almanzo Wilder, and I had to stop what I was doing and say, wait a second, hold the phone. I can't look at this.
Well,
it's much.
I'm still stuck on this whole Pop-Tart thing because, first of all, I don't see a point in a Pop-Tart if it's not frosted. I don't even.
The frosting was too hard. It was too weird.
No, but that's the beauty of the frosting. Is it was like this awesome hard sugar coating, and I liked the strawberry ones. But the thing that I would really go for was the brown sugar cinnamon ones, because it was like a pecan pie or something. Like you had this shortbread kind of a crust, and then you had this like brown sugary buttery cinnamon stuff.
I didn't even know that one existed.
And this is what I'm saying. You were not eating Pop-Tarts.
My mother would go to the store. I don't know what was there.
No, it was like a plain, I guarantee it was like a plain box, like an off-brand, and it said toaster pastry. Because a Pop-Tart, a Pop-Tart is going to have frosting and cartoons on the box. Like, that's just, that's the Pop-Tart brand, right?
Oh, okay. Okay, yes.
But I don't get how you could eat it without toasting it.
Because I don't know. I ate really strange things, and I would only eat that thing for a year straight. I think I had some kind of OCD with food. Like, it was very, very weird. I ate peanut butter sandwiches for 2 years straight for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, something like that. But yeah, they always said I ate very odd things.
Yeah. Yeah, I did too, but it was all candy.
While I was eating those odd things, I missed the episode where the entire Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders came on, and also the episode with the Pointer Sisters I'm looking on here.
Oh,
Didn't see those two eps.
Yeah, once again, you know what's hot? The Dallas cheerleaders. We got to get them on, and the...
So funny.
I remember that episode. I don't remember the details of the Pointer Sisters, though. I think that was a later one, right? That had to be
I don't know, but
83, 84 or something like that.
I just remember Automatic.
Whenever you're around.
Wait, how did the very beginning go? She had that great low voice.
Yeah. Automatic.
No, she's like,
Oh yeah, look what you done to me. I'm utterly
Love
at your
them.
whim. All of my defenses
Yeah,
down. Like I can't even sing that low.
I love the Pointer
Yeah. Oh my
Sisters. They're
God! Shout
so
out.
great.
R.I.P. Oh my God! I love the Pointer
Love
Sisters.
them.
They should get their whole own show because they were the Pointer Sisters are a collective icon. Like just
They really are.
right.
Now, who was your very favorite um, guest star on the Love Boat? Did I ask you this?
Um,
I know Parker Stevenson was on there, your favorite.
well, back in the day, it was Shaun all the way. Like, I was not a
Was he
Frank
on?
Hardy girl. No, Shaun was never on the Love Boat.
I do not
And
see him on my
I'm
list.
telling you to this day, if we ever get to ask Shaun Cassidy some questions, like if security ever lets us have access to him, I'm going to ask him that question.
Okay.
Why did
Why
you
were
never
you
do the
not
Love
on the
Boat?
Love
Because like
Boat?
everybody did the
Well,
Love
David
Boat.
Cassidy was on.
Yeah, but like everyone did it. So why not Shaun? Like, is there a story there?
Right.
He'll probably be like, I don't know, my agent didn't call me or whatever. But
Right.
I'm just very curious because
I'm curious.
yeah, I mean, all of the ABC stars were, made their guest spots and then even other networks and stuff. So yeah,
What was your very favorite? Do you remember having a favorite episode of The Love Boat?
no, I
Same
can,
here.
yeah, there were so many, and a lot of it's like you forget which subplot went with which episode. Like I can't remember that the one with Florence Henderson was also the
Right.
one with so and so. So whether it was the A, B, or C storyline, I don't remember those. But I did always love the holiday episodes, like when they would have the Halloween haunted whatever and do something funny, or when they did a Christmas show or like the Thanksgiving show. I liked those kinds. I was not a fan of them going to exotic locales. I just didn't care. I never cared about that. So whenever a show decided, oh, let's go to Japan or go to France or whatever, I just
You felt safe on the ship.
well, it was like I don't know. I just thought I don't
The
really
confines of the sets.
yeah,
I
like
was comforted by the ship. I didn't like if they left that ship. It's the same thing with all of these sitcoms when they would leave their comfy home and go somewhere. I was like, don't really want to
yeah.
watch it.
Yeah, it was sort of along those lines. Like if I want to see exotic locales, I will watch a different show. I'm
Okay.
watching this show because I want to see the action on the boat. I want to see the same, like you said, it's a comfort thing. I don't know. So, and I'm sure they used to do that all the time for like sweeps or whatever. They would take the whole cast. Like there's a story about when they went to Japan, and like they actually went. Like
Right. They did.
it wasn't just like the Long Beach harbor, pretending to be Japan. So they really kind of, and then the Alaskan one, oh, that was a memorable episode.
Alaska.
Julie
Oh, what
ate
happened?
major crow. Yeah,
What happened?
okay, Julie in a prior episode had fallen in love again in 24 hours with this
my.
guy who had a daughter. And Julie fell in love with the daughter and she fell in love with the guy. And the guy was like, well, come live with me in Alaska. And
my
she's
goodness.
like, I'm sorry, what? Like she's not
Right.
going to go to Alaska. She's got a life on a cruise ship. So
Right.
the Love Boat then, I think it was either later that season or the next season, the Love Boat then goes to Alaska, and it was probably a two-parter.
Mm.
And without calling or ever talking to him, she goes to his house.
Why do they do that?
And I know. And then
Does anybody do that, even in real life?
Right. Like, wouldn't you at least call or maybe write? I don't know. So she
There
shows
are
up at
certain
his
people that think that's okay. Not just her.
Not me.
Anyway.
But, like she doesn't exchange any information or words with him for however long. And then she turns up at his house in Alaska, like, hey, the Love Boat's here. So I just thought I'd pop in. And oops, he married somebody else.
Oh my God.
And
what a heartbreak.
yeah, she was devastated because she goes running up there like, yay, I'm here. I decided I love you and I want to stay.
Your stomach was dropping. Yeah. You were eating your cereal. You were like, no,
he's all,
don't do it.
Too late, bitch. But
oh, no.
that was a major, like, crow eating episode. And I think, Isaac ate crow at one point because he, I can't remember now what the details were. Gopher did too because he was going to take a job working at a hotel.
Oh my.
And he was irritated because Captain Stubing was being too hard on him.
And you know what? Speaking of, I will say when I watched this show, it made me want coworkers. It showed this is fun. They work together. They're all friends.
Right. But then
I'm
you get a job.
looking forward to coworkers,
What happened when you actually got a job and had coworkers?
I love every job I've had. It's been so much fun as far as coworkers.
Oh, really?
I've always enjoyed my coworkers, and they've all been so different. They've all been people I probably would not have come across because who knows, just so many different reasons, different ages, different cultures, different everything. And it's been so much fun. I absolutely loved it. Even the ones I rarely didn't get along with someone, but even those ones I ended up loving because it's just fun. Mm-hmm. It's like a show. Every time I get a new cast of, I always called them the cast.
Right.
Like when a new person gets hired up, new cast member.
Yeah. Remember at the quote unquote very famous deli where we met, mm-hmm. We used to cast, like just for fun, we would cast the whole place. Like what if we were a movie? Yeah. And then we would go, like I think you told me that Lucille Ball would play me.
Is that what I said? Oh my God. Well, who did I cast as myself?
You know what? I don't remember.
Oh,
it was a bombshell though. It was like
good.
It was like a bombshell of the day, like I can't remember who it was now, but somebody like Gorgeous and, MTV, whatever.
What a moron I am.
No, because
and I made you Lucille Ball. Oh God.
Well, I was Lucille Ball at that job. Right. I mean, come on. You know what, Aim? We are so out of time right now.
No,
I know it happens every time, and every time
right.
It just stings. But what a great time talking about the Love Boat. So let's just do our housekeeping issues because I forget, since we start our podcast and we just dive right in, we sort of forget to tell people about us and where we are. So I encourage everybody, go visit our website, glitterboomgirls.com. There's a whole podcast page and a little short bio, and we keep adding stuff to it.
Great retro pictures of our great haircuts throughout the years. By the way,
you can see what we used to look like. And we're also on Twitter, Glitter Bee Girls, and Instagram, Glitter Bee Girls. So you can listen. I don't know what you're listening now, but you can hear us also on Spotify and YouTube and Apple Podcasts.
I have a question for you though, Robbie, before we go.
Oh yeah.
Can we ask the Magic 8-Ball a question? I have a very specific question.
Yes. All right. I got it right here.
If Robbie-Ann was on the Love Boat, would she have a romance with Doc?
With Doc?
Because he's the Lothario.
If I was on the Love Boat,
would you end up in the bedroom with, smoke and mirrors and satin sheets and then, cut away with Doc?
Hold on. Outlook not so good.
Darn it. All right.
No,
fine.
I like that answer. Listen,
okay,
I'll do to Bernie Kopell. I'm just not the type, I wouldn't mess around with the ship's doctor.
Of course not, but I thought it would be funny because he's the Lothario.
He was.
Would Amy...
He was funny too.
Okay, ask the Magic 8-Ball. Okay. One last thing.
Shaking. All right.
Would Amy and Gopher become best friends on the Love Boat if they worked together as co-workers?
Oh, I guarantee this is going to be a positive answer. Hold on. Yes, definitely.
Of course.
What did I tell you?
I mean, I would have given him a best friend's charm.
Well,
he could have the friends half, and I would keep the best half.
Yeah, exactly. And you two would have had each other's back, I feel.
Yes.
Yeah.
He would lose somebody's money or their purse, and I would go buy one from the port and help him and whatnot.
Yeah, exactly. And you would you would cover for him if something went wrong. You would totally cover for him, right?
So true. So true.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're gonna close this out now, and make sure that you stick around. And check out our next and last episodes. We have all kinds of retro stuff, and hit us up too if you want us to discuss something. A lot of our podcast ideas come from listeners who say, "Hey, you know what? Will you talk about this or that?" So let us know what you want to hear. Okay. I am Robbie-Ann McPherson on the East Coast,
and I'm Amy Asbury on the West Coast.
And we want to thank you guys for hanging out with us. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye, everyone.